Hello everyone, it's Joe here from Draft FPL. Welcome back to a weekly series helping you find some good value free agents and waiver pickups in Draft FPL. We're looking ahead this week at game week 21. It's one of these annoying winter break weeks. It's like 2 weeks long, so it's going to be a little while after this video until you see me again. But I am going to be using this time to update my latest draft rankings, so if you want to check those out, they'll be via the Patreon. There is a link down below in the description. Let's get stuck into the picks. First up then, we are going for Mavropanos of West Ham, currently available in 90% of leagues, and that information is powered by draftfc.co.uk. As always, if you want to check out their site, there is a link down below in the description. Use code SNAKEDRAFT to get 1 month completely free. You can see if you like it, see if you find it useful. I'm pretty sure you will, because I personally use it to help make these videos and help make my waiver picks. Looking at Mavropanos specifically, West Ham have got kind of mixed fixtures, but the next two are pretty good. Sheffield United away, Bournemouth at home are the two I'm looking to target. Aguerd is currently at AFCON, and I suspect Mavropanos will take his place in the starting 11. Sheffield United have actually got quite a lot better since Wilder's come in, but I do think that from an attacking point of view, they're still lacking. They've definitely got a lot better defensively. I do think West Ham have a good clean sheet opportunity this week, and there aren't that many to go around, to be honest, looking at the fixtures. So I think a West Ham defender is a good shout. Next up, we've got Nathan Collins, available in 70% of draft leagues. Forest at home this week for Brentford. It's a really good fixture. Brentford have struggled for clean sheets lately, but actually their defensive data is still pretty good. I think they're maybe the 5th or 6th ranked defence over the course of the season. So definitely a team that when the fixture is right, I'm happy to back their defenders. I'm pretty sure Collins is going to start this week. Pinnock is obviously the safest choice, but I think Collins is not a bad shout either. After game week 21, they do have back-to-back 2 tough fixtures in Spurs away, City at home. Then it's Wolves away in 24, which I think actually is also kind of a tough fixture. So this is definitely in the 1 week punt kind of territory. I'd probably be looking to drop them after this game week. There is a little bit of competition for centre-backs, especially if Brentford play the back 4. They often do play a back 4 against sort of easier opposition, which I would class Forest as, but they don't have many forward players at the moment, with some Wissers gone to AFCON and Burmo's injured. Ivan Toney is obviously back. It's only really him and Lewis Potter that are sort of hanging about at the moment, so I'm not really sure. I suspect they'll probably stick with the back 5 for this week and play a 2 up top. If that is the case and you're looking for something a little bit more exciting, you might want to go for Rorslev instead, who will almost certainly be playing at wing back. He's available in 100% of leagues, does have a little bit more attacking threat than Collins. Next up, we have Van Heck, available in 95% of leagues. Brighton have an amazing little run of fixtures coming up. Wolves at home, Luton away, Palace at home, the next 3. Then they go into Spurs away, and then it's a few good ones after that. I think it's Sheffield United at home in game week 25, I think. And then a couple of decent ones after that as well. They've got a pretty good run now for the next 6 or 7 game weeks. Van Heck's been really good lately. I'm really impressed with him. I think he's definitely first choice alongside Lewis Dunk, who is also an option. The one I'd like to have the most is a Stupinan. He's now back fit, available, very attacking, as we know. But if he's not available, which he is very highly owned, Van Heck or Dunk are the 2 that I would go for next. Van Heck's so widely available, and I don't think there's really anything in it between him and Dunk, so I think he's actually quite a smart pickup this week, looking to target this great run of fixtures from Brighton. Defensively, they've not been good so far. First clean sheet of the season came last week though, and hopefully that can turn their fortunes around a little bit. They've not been that bad defensively. I think it's kind of unlucky that they've not kept a clean sheet yet, but looking forward, I think they're not a bad team to target with this decent run. On to midfielders then, and first up, Noni Madueke, available in 97% of leagues. Chelsea's decent fixture run continues. It's Fulham at home this week, probably the standout fixture, I'd say. They do have Liverpool away next week, which is quite tough. Then Wolves at home, Palace away the next 2 after that, another 2 decent fixtures. Chelsea have been pretty hit and miss. They've got their issues, definitely, but they are starting to click a little bit going forward. Cole Palmer's obviously kind of leading the way on that front. Been really impressed with him. Madu had a good game against Luton, scored a good goal. Available in 97% of leagues. I think he's a little bit under the radar at the moment. I suspect he will start against Fulham. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. And then if he plays well, he could end up being a decent hold season keeper. He's very highly rated, never really got a decent run at Chelsea and got a chance to kind of show off his ability, but I think he might be getting that now. Next up, we have Lo Celso, available in 97% of leagues again. Spurs in a little bit of trouble when it comes to injuries, players missing. Son is obviously the most recent one to go to the Asian Cup. So they've definitely got their problems, but they're still creating a lot of chances. They're still scoring a lot of goals. They're right up there with the attacking data in the league. And the fixtures are kind of mixed, but I actually don't think it really matters that much. Spurs play exactly the same way against every team. Against the weaker teams, they get a lot of opportunity because of the skill difference. And against the stronger teams, they quite often get a lot of opportunities because it kind of plays into their hands, playing against teams that play a bit of a higher line and want to attack them a little bit more as well. So the fixtures I think are kind of irrelevant, but I do think specifically in Game Week 21, United away is actually a really good fixture for Spurs. United at Old Trafford kind of are forced to come out and attack a lot more, play with a bit of a higher line, get themselves into a bit of bother, and I think Spurs could be a team that definitely exploit this. So even though Son's missing, I think Lo Celso's played pretty well when he's kind of deputised for Maddison so far, and I think there definitely could be goals in this game. I'd be very surprised if there's a clean sheet on the cards here. Both teams' defences have been absolutely terrible, so I think pretty good shout going for Lo Celso this week. After United, they've got Brentford, Everton and Brighton, which are decent enough but not brilliant. All three have their challenges, but as I said, I think Spurs are pretty good for attacking returns against basically any team. Next up, we've got Sarabia, available in 88% of draft leagues. Anyone that follows me on Twitter would have seen that I ruined Draft FC's little game of Guess the Player. As I was making this graphic, I saw their tweet pop up and I literally had just looked at his ownership graph, so that's quite funny. But he has come back into the fore a little bit. A lot of people started with him at the start of the season, myself included. Dropped right off when he wasn't getting the game time because of Neto and Hwang's form. But now that Hwang is off to the Asian Cup, I suspect it will be Neto and Sarabia either side of Cunha. And I think these fixtures kind of similar to the Spurs ones. I think they don't look amazing on paper, but I think all of them have goals in them. As I said earlier about Brighton, I do think that they might have turned a corner, but it's easy to make the case that they're still a weak defence and one to target. Then you've got United at home. We all know about their troubles. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. Chelsea away in the game after. Chelsea have been exposed on the break quite a lot recently, so there's definitely goals in these games coming up, I think. And to be honest, there aren't that many good defences in the league at all, so there's goals in almost every fixture at the moment. I think Sarabia is probably going to start this week. I'd be pretty confident of that. Then we'll have to wait and see how the front three gels with Neto back from injury, and then we can go from there. Next up, Townsend, available in 94% of leagues. I didn't think I'd ever make a graphic with Townsend on it, seeing as he was out the game for well over a year, I think. But he is back with Luton and playing pretty well. I've been quite impressed with Luton the last few weeks, to be honest. I think they were desperately unlucky not to get something in that Chelsea game. And now looking ahead, I quite like the fixtures. Even though it's not a sea of green in my little mini ticker, I do think Luton are actually they're a decent attack. They're not bad. They can definitely score goals. They know how to make the most of situations. And I think there's goals in all of these. This Burnley game's absolutely massive for both teams, and I just cannot see a way there's a clean sheet in this. And I think that Luton and Townsend specifically is the kind of player that could punish sort of the mistake-ridden defence of Burnley. Brighton in the next game is similar. I suspect that there'll be goals in that. Newcastle are currently the worst defence in the league, so you can't really say that they're likely to keep a clean sheet against anyone. And then it's Sheffield United at home in 24, which is another massive game. So I really like this set of fixtures for Luton, and I'm seriously tempted to get on with at least one of the attackers in a couple of different leagues. I know that, you know, it's easy to just say, well, they're rubbish, so you don't want to get involved, but I think that's not really the way to play it. The best way to play it is to kind of pick your moments with teams like this, and I think this block of 4 fixtures, we could see Luton make a little run. On to forwards then. First up, Danny Welbeck, available in 40% of leagues. As I said earlier when I talked about Van Heck, the fixtures for Brighton are really, really good at the moment, and they've not really got Europe to worry about for a little while, a month or two until that comes back. They have got a lot of players missing, loads and loads of injuries at the moment. There's no denying that, but the philosophy of the team shouldn't change. The way they play shouldn't change. They've still got João Pedro, they've still got Danny Welbeck. I think those two play really well together, to be honest, and I like seeing their partnership. They play off each other really well, and in these fixtures coming up, they're bound to score goals. Evan Ferguson is also fit, and he could take some minutes off Welbeck, but he's really out of form at the moment, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to get a sniff with the Welbeck-João Pedro partnership that's kind of blossoming. So I suspect that Welbeck will get at least 2 starts out of these next 3 good fixtures, and that is enough for me to think that he is going to deliver some returns. And finally, we've got Jacob Brown of Luton, available in 87% of leagues. He's on a really good run of starts. The fixtures, as I said earlier, do have goals in. If you've got, you're probably more likely to have a free forward slot that you're looking to waiver someone in, as opposed to a midfielder like Townsend. I think Brown is probably a good one to go for. Adebayo is the better pick, but he's far less widely available. So Brown is probably the one that may well be free that you could look to bring in. I don't think there's that much danger that he doesn't start. I think he's pretty well settled in the lineup at this point. So looking ahead at these 4 fixtures, I think he might be a decent little punt if you've got a problematic third forward slot, as many of us do. Okay, that wraps up my picks for game week 21. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, check out the Patreon in the link down below. As I said, the rankings will probably come early next week, in the middle of this game week, I suspect. Thank you all for watching. Check out draftfpl.co.uk, code SNAKEDRAFT, and we will see you next time.